Okay, so now in the Home tab, we're going to go through some things about the Home tab. So we've got a station we've got opened up here. So in the Home tab, we can import libraries, standard ABB libraries. We can import standard ABB equipment or user libraries, things that you've used recently. You can open up locations. You can browse for geometry or browse for libraries that you've brought in. You can bring in geometry types, so browse for geometry. So here you can select all supported types. The standard type is only ASYS files or SAT files. Depending upon what versions and what things you have, you can import more stuff or less stuff. You can get different add-ons to be able to import more different file types. But the one that's native to Robot Studio is SAT files. So here we've got geometries you can bring in. You can drive out to the file that you want to be able to import them. You can also create frames. You can create frames from 3 points. They're useful, and we'll go into their usefulness in other videos. You can create targets, so you can do programming based off in the home screen. You don't need any add-ons such as the arc welding power pack in the add-ons tab, but it's more convenient using the add-ons packages that they have. Makes it a lot easier. So you can create paths. Some of these they work well, but they're not always the best. Creating work objects for your positioners, for your parts. You can move the robot around and teach target. For multi-move system, if you have a multi-move, you can adjust things and have things move simultaneously. We won't go into any of that right now. It'll show you your current system, current setup, what you currently have running. This is your task. This is the work object you currently have. So I've already created some things, brought in a tool. You can change this if you've got more than one tool that you can use from. You can change which one you have here. Now this is also a synchronized tool. This is very helpful. You can synchronize to the virtual controller, or synchronize to the station. So the station would be this side over here, and the paths and targets. This is your station. Your virtual controller is going to be a rapid and controller side. So this is what you would actually run, and this would virtually run your station as if it was running on your actual system. So if you don't have to open the add-ins package to be able to sync things out. So that's the moving of the Home tab. This is Robot Studio 5.15, so these 3 settings and things might be different in different versions. These might be in the different locations. There's quick hides. You can show paths or hide paths. So if you've got a bunch of paths that you've programmed, you can hide them. Frames or targets. I've got one right there for my torch. You can show them and hide them. You can show and hide parts if you had any parts. Currently I don't have anything in there. You can show and hide all mechanisms. So there's quick buttons you can use to show and hide things. 3D settings, so there's orthographic. So you notice here this is as if you could see everything, both sides of everything, all from one angle. So that could be handy depending upon what you're doing. So then perspective, this would be a normal perspective, as if you're looking at it with their normal eyes and in a normal setting. You can change to wireframe. You can change to both wireframe and surfaces, or you can just do surfaces. Wireframe with hidden line movers, so anything that's hidden you won't see. Whatever you want to do to be able to do that. There's different ways you can do things. I usually standardly use surfaces and perspective. So now we're going to go through and we're going to import a torch. So import library, or Control J. So you can go and drive out to a standard set of torches that you have. A lot of ours are in library build. You can create quick short buttons to them. So then I'll just import a tool, and I want to get a single wire torch. I'll just put in, yeah, that torch right there looks good. Or benzolithin 85 or an ATI. Might be big for this system. Yeah, so this has got a bunch of different torch next to it. We're going to get a more simple one. We won't go into this right now, so we'll delete this one, right click and delete. Control J to import a new one. We'll just use the 22. I think that's in the standard one. There we go. So there's the torch. We're going to attach it, and this one has the plate there. So we're going to attach this to the robot. Dragging, dropping, join up the position. Now since the existing tool data is already named T-Weld-Gun, this will just override it if you hit yes, so hit yes. And so then there's the new TCP of that torch. So that's a quick way if you don't know exactly which torch you want to use. You can change out torches by having them all named the same thing and just change torch around and check which reach works the best for you. And I'm going to import some geometry, so I can right click here, Control G, browse for geometry, or just get Control G. And I've already got these two ones built. So these ones I built earlier and showed how to move them around in another video. I'll bring them in again and show you how to move it around just in this video. So in this video, there's a couple different ways to move parts around. So I'll just select one at a time. So I want to get this part onto that position. So bunch of different ways to do this. Here's one of the ways I like. You can click here and go set position and then move things around. I usually like getting things oriented for the most part about where they should be, and then moving them close to where they need to be by using a place one point. So I usually try to get them the right orientation, and then I'll place one point, and this depending upon what we have selected up here will change where you're selecting. So here I'm going to select this snap object. It's the one I normally use, and I'm going to select the middle of this face here, and I'm going to go to the middle of this face here. And sometimes it's kind of hard to select this, all depending upon the selection tools it has. I'm going to try surface, and then we go to middle, see if it'll get it to select where I want to, and then change this to frame, and there we go. So depending upon what you select, it'll change what options you have to be able to select things. So this here, and I'm going to select that frame. So I'm going to go from the middle of that part right there up to that frame right there, and then just hit apply. And so now it moves right about where I want it to be. But technically speaking, I'm probably going to have some sort of tooling or interface splitter there. So then I can go through here, right click the part, set position, and just right click at the end here and go woo, right click at the end and go plus 25.4 for 1 inch, 25.4 millimeters, and hit apply. And now it's in this position. So that's one part, and so then the next part, I'll hide that one, move this one. The other ways to move things around, you can select on your part, or select on, depending on what selection you have here, part selection. I'm going to select this freehand drag, and I can drag it up, move it over. So this is good. You can get things close pretty quick, and you're visually seeing things and where things are moving around, and it's dragging about by its local origin. So that local origin's up there. Then go through and say, hey, that's pretty close to where this thing should be. If you're just doing a really quick thing and you don't need it to be exact, pretty close might be good enough. So that's where that's at. And so then I'll call that good. So here's one part, and here's the other part. Now this part might not be lined up right, so we can go through, here's some measurement tools. We've got a point-to-point measurement, and I can use this snap object. So I can check measurements here and say, hey, from there to there, how far away? And I can check X, Y, or Z. It'll show me each one. So that is, in the Y is what I'm looking at, the Y direction. That's 194.54, and then I'll go from there to there, 147. So they're off center. Another way you can see that is you can compare them both is have this keep measurements button used, and so we can select there, go to there, and then there to there, and just look at the Y measurement, so that one right there, and it also spits it out here in the output screen, so you don't need to do that. Have the keep measurements button. So you can see it's off a little bit, so you can go through and do math, set positions, set position, and then pull up a calculator, figure it all out, which way it goes. So you go 194.54 minus 147.26 equals that. Divide that by 2 equals 26. You can copy that value, Control C, and then add this to that right there, and go, since it needs to go negative, so we'll make it a minus that value, and hit apply. Oops, went the wrong way. So that's, oh yeah, because this is minus off of that right there. My bad. So you go plus, and then I'll do it twice, so plus again, that right there, and apply. And now it's lined up. So we'll hide those, bring them up here so we can see them again. Close that down so I don't actually try to move this. Go from there to there, and from there to there. And you can see that those numbers are the same. So that's one way of doing it. The other way is, bring that back again. I just right click this and hit visible to bring that back since I hit it. Is I can go through and use an alignment or a set point. So place one point depending on the selection tool that I have selected, and I'm just going to say I want the middle of this part, I'll go to the bottom, the middle of that part to be in line with the middle of that part, and I only want it to be in line in the Y direction and the Z direction. So just exclude the X and hit apply. And I can double check that by going here, and it's the same. So that's a lot convenient than doing math to try and figure out where this should go. So that's how you move parts around. Now the other thing you can do here is setting the local origin of parts. So setting local origin is helpful because here's the local origin here when attaching a part to a position or attaching it to something else and moving it around. So I'm going to set local origin, and here I can go through and I can type in values to figure out how to get it to be where that positioner's at. But the most convenient way is by changing the UCS of the station. By doing that, I want to set the UCS of the positioner to be the main location. So set as UCS. There it is, set as UCS. Right click these and go set local origin in reference to the UCS, and then just zero it out. And same with this one, this automatically changes back to world, so change it back to UCS. And close. And then reset UCS back to world by clicking the station and set as UCS. So now these are set in the right location. And now we can attach them to the positioner without any fear of them moving in some unknown location. Do you want to update position? Yes. Yes. So now they're exactly where I say that they should be for whatever program I'm running. And then we can go through, now that these are in the right location, now we can export these as libraries. And the advantage of exporting as libraries is it'll keep this local origin. If you bring in a geometry, if you bring in the geometry and it's sitting at home and you have this sitting right there, it'll keep that local origin as well. But if you bring in the library, if you bring in the just a geometry, it'll keep whatever local origin it's based off of. So I can go through and export these models, export geometry, and its local origin will be the world local origin, not the local origin that I told it, because it's all it is a dumb model, you could say. It doesn't know anything about where anything's at, so it references its location from world. And when you bring it back in, its local origin will be world. It might be physically in the right position, but its local origin will be world. So a more convenient way to do that, so it'll keep the local origin that you want is export or save as library. And if you save it as library, its default location will be wherever you last opened up something at. So you test libraries, and I've already saved these out once in other saves. So here we go, we've got them saved, and you can hit save there. you want to replace, overwrite? Yes, that's fine, because I already know that they're at the same location. So now with the library, I'm just going to delete these. You can see in the library, when you save it out, it's got this little saved signal, or saved little picture right there in the bottom corner, and this one doesn't. So I'm going to go through and delete these and show you the difference between a library and a geometry when you bring them in. I'll just delete. Yes. So now I'll bring in the libraries, Control J, and these are the two libraries, and I'll bring them both in. One brought in wherever its home location is the same location, so you can see where its local origin is there, but its position is still in reference to the world. So it'll come in wherever its position was at, but the local origin will keep. Now, since this one was set up here and its local origin was already updated, all I have to do to move it to where I want it to be is drag and drop it. Don't update position, yes, and I'm done. No other work is needed, and it's back to where I said it should be. So that is bringing and moving things around in the home screen.